All right. I think we're live.
You think?
I think we are
Oh, we
live.
are. We are. How'd you do it?
So I pulled up, for those listening, I pulled up my actual live page on the Change Physician page, copied the streaming URL, streaming key, put it in wherever it said from Zoom to put it in after I asked to go live using our custom keys, and also took the URL for the Change Physician and put that in the information. So I had three things to fill in. And so now we are officially looking at ourselves in two places.
Ta-da.
One on Zoom and one on Facebook.
One on Facebook. Yay. All right. Well, that was this is supposed to be the Friday phase with the Change Physician, where we're going to talk about our favorite things. But my new favorite thing out of this moment of time is that the fact that they actually got the Facebook Live to work. Oh my God, this has been like an hour trying to do
I
this.
was about to say the same thing. You just stole my thunder right there. That was,
You know,
I feel suddenly like I learned something that I could have paid somebody to teach me. But it's all about trading time for money,
that's
right?
right. And as you know, with Friday faves, whoever's first gets that favorite. So you'll have to figure out something else.
Yeah, well, I'll let you go with your Friday fave, and then I'll come up with my other one.
Well, we're going to ask you right now, Dr.
Oh,
Katie, what have been your favorite things this week? So it doesn't have to be the favorite, but what has been your favorite things?
hmm. Well, I guess this is a moment of gratitude, right? Thinking about the things that we, I guess, for the most part, are grateful for. Uh, well, I took care of a patient this week and did really well. I mean, that's just one thing to look at. But outside of work, I've spent some extra time with the Change Physician podcast and editing. And I think my favorite thing is I started just realizing a lot of the exposure to some amazing physicians and their stories. And with the time I spent with a few people I edited over this past week, um, there's just so much to people's stories. And one of them, in particular, most recent one, of course, that's fresh in my memory, is just thinking about Dr. Caleb Redden, who his episode will come out later, but just some of the depth of his story and just so much, there's so many lessons wrapped in it, and I think I had like 12 great little snippets that people are going to just, I think, love when they come out later. um that'll be for like September or October, probably September.
It's like
But
October.
it talk about making you wait. But I think that's my favorite thing that's happened, is just really spending time to just digest some of the things that we're learning from a someone who's a non-traditional approach to being a physician, who became a physician and kind of negotiated, navigated that whole process later in life, and recognizing what's really important. And um, I had, what stemmed from that too is just thinking about family and your relationships and spending more time connecting with those that I care about, and someone who's close to me, launching into something exciting that will come out later.
That is
But
exciting.
what's that?
You said that is exciting that someone close.
Yeah, so no one knows what we're talking about with that, but I want to give it a little more time to simmer, and I'll be happy to share that later. But I think it's just really just hearing the stories and editing, and when you go back through it and you listen to it again, it just really highlights that there's so many lessons, if we're listening and paying attention, that we can apply to so many areas of our lives. And so I don't think that was my favorite thing. It wasn't one big huge headline thing. I think it was just more of reflecting on the work we're doing right now. And it's just very rewarding, and to share those stories with other people so that they can benefit too.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and it has been fun. So uh,
Yes.
for people on Facebook, we have not seen a whole lot of, probably a lot of movement from the Change Physician, but holy smokes, there has been a lot behind the scenes. And I think that's really fun too, is we have this publication schedule. Currently we have two episodes a week, Monday, Thursday publication dates. There's 15 episodes that are up now. But we have so many more coming. And that's probably the hardest part for me, is every time, I mean, almost every single guest that we've talked with have been just fun. And we
Mhm.
have so many really good interviews coming up. Really excited for them. But when you interview so many people, we're literally like on a 2-month backlog. So
Yeah.
it's good from a content side, but there's a little bit of a delayed gratification there. But so let me just the idea for this, up until we sort of lost over the hour, was trying to figure out the tech thing, since Dr. Katie and I are neither one of us tech gurus in any way, shape, or the form. Although I will say, Melissa, you're probably more tech savvy than me, especially along the video things that they're doing. But the purpose of this is just to do something fun when we're talking about something that happened during the week, favorite things. And some of the science for that, maybe if you guys have talked or heard about gratitude journals. So there's sort of, some people do it, some people recommend it, but there's actually science behind that. That is not something that comes out of the blue. And what I mean by that is, when they first started having people to chart down, it was either 3 to 5 things, good things that happened every day. There actually is data that shows that if you pay attention to the good things that happen in your life, lo and behold, you tend to become more happy. You have more satisfaction with your life. And then that makes sense from a neuroscience perspective. If you kind of think about your brains actively searching information out all the time, the questions that you feed it are going to be what it's paying attention to. And so if you're feeding this question of what is good for my life, or I have this thing where I have to write down my 3 favorite things, or the 3 things I'm gracious in gratitude for at the end of the day, your brain is going to be actively scanning throughout the day or out the week to find those good things. And that phrase that people use about paying attention, there's a lot of depth to that. Because we say, well, are you paying attention? Well, where did that come from? Attention is a limited resource, and you can either choose to pay it, i.e. you're going to focus on something and it's going to have a cost associated with it, or a way that you can invest attention. And investing attention, just like you would say investing dollars, is that you're purposefully paying attention to specific things so that you're getting a benefit back from that attention. So rather than paying attention to the news, which is awful generally and horrible and designed to make you upset and angry, although we have to do it a little bit just so we know what's going on, you can invest attention to focus on the good things of your life. So that's what the purpose of the Friday favorite things are. So that was a little background on there. Since I've already been talking so long, I can say, do you have anything to say, Dr. Katie? Or I can
About
talk
that?
about my favorite thing
Well, sure.
that I had prepped, which was not nearly as profound as yours.
Well, I was thinking, this when it comes to the focused attention, we could have another talk about that another time, but it suddenly just made me think about how wherever we're putting our attention to is, when we think of we're being stressed out, or we're anxious, or we're in pain, or those types of things, it's when you're so focused on that, it magnifies that sensation, or that experience, I should say. And so it pretty much relates to anything in life. So just listening, it was yesterday, it's really hard when you're taking the time to be grateful, or experiencing these favorite or Friday faves, as we're calling them. It's hard to be depressed or unhappy when you really focus on this experience of gratitude. And so I'm super grateful with people around me that are, including some relatives that I haven't seen in years that have COVID-19, and are COVID-19, they're positive, and some of them have been symptomatic, some haven't. But I'm grateful for my health, and I try not to take that for granted, even when I'm outside running. I think I could be one of those people in the hospital that are having trouble breathing. So, just even some simple things like that, and never assuming that it's always going to be that way, and you just have to experience things in the moment and appreciate them.
Well, that's a good thing to focus on every day, is the good things
Yes.
that are happening. And
Despite the
from
pandemic.
well, from a COVID standpoint, I've said this multiple times to friends and family. I'm already answering myself, but could you imagine this even 10 years ago? And the reason I'm imagining this is because if you don't know what you're missing, then you really aren't missing anything. So this is sort of this question doesn't work because I'm asking you to imagine 10, 15 years ago without having the technology. But if we were actually living 10 or 15 years ago when we didn't have the technology, nobody would be aware of it. So it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But knowing all that in this day and age, here we are, we're in this COVID pandemic, a public health kind of crisis thing. It is difficult. We're not making light of that in any way, shape, or form. There's some serious repercussions. But what do we have?
Mm.
We have this type of technology. We have platforms where we can still maintain connection with people socially. It may not be physical, but at least there's that social element of connection to it. We have a vast range of resources available. I look at my kids at the particular age that they are. They can still learn in a safe way. I know there's a big debate with that, but in our school district, they're going to be using online for a number of weeks when schools finally starts, and then continue to evaluate the data. But there's that option there. Like, if you look before we had even internet or streaming technology, let's go back to 1918 with the flu pandemic. I have to do some historical research and see how much quarantining they were doing at that time. Just thinking about how to get the news out to quarantine at that time, totally different beast. But it'd be a lot different being stuck in your house without an internet, without connection, without being friends and family members that are living far away. And maybe the only thing you can do is mail a letter and hope that it reaches there in time. So we're pretty lucky where we are right now. And despite the pandemic with the technology that we have.
Yeah. Well, imagine having to entertain yourselves. We have so much Netflix and Hulu and all these other things out there that,
there's always books, but then if we,
the
advantages that we have, like what I've found a new, this could be a Friday fave for me, is I'm reading on the treadmill. So I push the treadmill up at like 15%. So I'm hiking up a hill, and then I just open up the Kindle and read really, really easy fiction, like no thought, no in depth, no figuring stuff out. I like to read that stuff, but for this, I just want totally empty. It's just, and just plowing through these books. And because it's on a Kindle and it's Kindle Unlimited, which I signed up for just specifically for this, I can read all this stuff. It's fairly cheap. And, it's just wonderful. So there's just like a wealth of things and ways to keep us entertained. So,
So that's your Friday fave?
Well, that's not the original Friday fave. But
what's your original Friday fave?
As we invest more attention into this, right? Then I have all these favorite things popping up. My favorite thing for this week is something I already posted to my friends and family, though, but is food. And specifically, it comes from Costco. And for those of you who know me, know I am a huge Costco fan. I love Costco. Costco rarely serves you wrong. I think they're a great business, great place. Go Costco.
We didn't get paid to say that, and I use Costco too.
Their Costco Connection, their little magazine from June, had this recipe for mushroom burgers with Swiss cheese. And this may sound super silly, but oh my God, these mushroom burgers are insane. Mushroom burgers. Not boogers, mushroom burgers. And they have the meat and they have the mushrooms, and you stick them together. Like the old thing where you had two great tastes that taste great together. It really works for things. They're the juiciest, drippiest, delicious burgers that you could possibly have. And
I'm feeling guilty now. I normally go page by page in that one, and I was just like, just trying to get rid of or recycle stuff, and I ended up didn't even see that, so I missed it.
I ripped it out. I actually have the page. I'll post it.
You'll have to post it or send me a copy.
Super easy to do. We actually doubled. Well, I doubled because I'm the only one who made these things, but I put more mushrooms than they asked for. And oh God,
that's the beauty of cooking.
Just went crazy over them. Yeah. Well, and that's the difference. I'm a cook. My wife is a baker and more of a chef than me. Like I use the recipe directions as an approximation. They're a suggestion, right? They're a suggestion of what you put in.
And sometimes it's important on the proportions.
Exactly. And that's what
not always.
My wife would say, and she's very stickler. The very first time she makes a recipe, she follows that recipe.
Right. And then
so that she knows, because she knows whether or not it works. I do not do that. probably because I'm too lazy, but you throw that stuff in there and it was great. So anyway, so that's my food Friday favorite food is the mushroom burgers in the Costco magazine.
And that's a tongue twister, y'all.
Well, and to make it even worse, apparently it came from some blogger called the Food S. So the Friday favorite food from the Food S are mushroom burgers from Costco, mushroom
From
beef
from
mix
fungi.
from Fungi.
Told to us by a fun guy. All right, here we go. We're getting really corny at the end of a Friday. I have no idea if there's any other faves I can share with you, but this will, from this point on, it may be 5 minutes, it might be 30 minutes, but we will share our Friday faves with our the change physician community. Our podcast again is going to be launching out officially out in September. We'll give you an
Audio
exact
podcast. The audio,
again.
the audio podcast.
The audio podcast, yes. And where can they find the other stuff since you chimed in?
At thechangedphysician.com or
Yes.
YouTube at The Changed Physician, which is where we are currently right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you want a sneak peek at some video audio, you can find us there, and feel free to sign up for any updates and future episodes and fancy events that we're going to be pushing out there to you soon once our audio goes live on our multiple podcast venues. So I am Melissa Cady, the Challenge Doctor, with my co-host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro. And until next Friday, don't miss our episodes too.
So unfair. That's
What's
so
that?
unfair. The Challenge Doctor.
You got to come up with one, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well,
The foodie doctor, I don't know.
I'm definitely not the foodie doctor. No way, shape, or form.
Oh, we're going to have to find something. Got to have a nickname.
Yeah, but thank you, everybody. This is going to be a lot of fun. I should probably put in there, hit the like button. We're so good at the social media stuff. Hit the like button and share to your friends. Go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel and look for that audio podcast, which will be debuting on September 1st. It's the hard launch. It might be a couple days before that, but September 1st, it should be available in all your favorite podcasting networks.
Bye.
See you later.